Yeah, I think both Hong Kong and the Middle East needs diversification. Diversification in the sense of seeking investments as well as making investments. I think this is an area that both would be happy to look at. So the need is mutual. And also for us, given the geopolitical situation, I do think that diversification in terms of sources of investment and also sources of companies to be set up in Hong Kong would be very important. Over the past 2 days, when I met with their government officials as well as their business owners and sovereign fund leaders, the more we talk about the opportunities and the area of common interest, the more we feel excited about the prospect of working together.
What are the common interests? Can you give us some examples?
Well, when I talk to them about the opportunities in Hong Kong, the situation here, and also the opportunities offered by the Greater Bay Area development, they seem to have a limited knowledge of the Greater Bay Area. They heard about Hong Kong as an international financial center, but they do not know the depth and breadth of our capital markets. So in the discussion, say, for example, in one of the sovereign funds, they have a portfolio of companies. And in these investments, they need to cash out when the situation is appropriate. So traditionally, they will look to London or New York for their listing. But in our discussion, they feel interested and excited about the possibility of coming over to Hong Kong for listing. It is because by listing in Hong Kong, they will be able to access international investors as well as investors from the mainland. So this is an exciting possible development for us as well.
Speaking of listing, are you going to re-engage the oil giant Saudi Aramco so that they will really list in Hong Kong? How can we make it happen?
Well, this is a huge petroleum company. And I understand that the Hong Kong EX is also making direct approach with them. So we stand ready to assist them if they are interested. But I would say that in the Middle East, it is a lot more companies than Saudi Aramco. So there are other companies, some are family owned, but very big, very successful, and some are in specialized sectors. So I think going forward, we can explore further as to the attractiveness of Hong Kong for them to get listing.
Can you share with us some of the examples, maybe name a few, apart from the Saudi Aramco?
Yeah, at this stage, perhaps I should not divulge about the names. But, discussion with these private groups and, discussion with the sovereign fund managers, they do assure us that they are very interested in the value proposition of listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And they even tell me that they will organize trips to come to Hong Kong to understand more the situation and talk to our investment banks and other potential investors here.
How can we make this happen? Do we need to amend some of the taxes or regulations in order to attract them to come?
Not really at this stage, because our regime is also already very competitive. And the recent announcement of inclusion of foreign companies listed on our stock exchange into southbound already give us the needed listing rules modifications. So I think what is important going forward is to maintain the dialogue to promote better mutual understanding. Well, as I said, one of their ministers mentioned about the possibility of coming to Hong Kong and leading a business delegation. So I think it is important for us to continue to engage with them and to work together. And there are also areas of possible co-investment because they are very interested in our region, Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area, because they also need to diversify their investment. One of the sovereign fund manager told us they need to rebalance their portfolio, meaning that they, apart from investing in the US and Europe, they need to increase their exposure to Asia because this is the future growth area. This is an area that offers tremendous prospects and opportunities.
Did they mention which part of the areas they are particularly interested in terms of investment, like biotechnology, which areas?
They do have investment in health-related sector and also in other sectors as well. So I think the most important thing is to get the delegation visits moving. When they come, they will be able to realize and see for themselves the possible area of cooperation here. And I have promised them that if they come, we can organize a program for them to visit not just our stock exchange, but also other areas like our innovation and technology sectors.
So what is your plan to strengthen the bilateral economic ties with them?
Yeah, on this visit, our ETO, Dubai ETO, is also with us. They certainly will follow up. Also on this trip, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Deputy CEO is with me. So in terms of possible co-investment, in terms of working together on other areas, they will set up the contact direct. So I think going forward, apart from all this, there is also area that we should explore. Say, for example, whether it is possible for us to enter into any free trade agreements or investment protection and promotion agreements. So these are the areas that we have to follow up after this visit.
I see. Apart from attracting enterprises, you are also heading a steering committee to look for talents. So what kinds of talents from the Middle East we can poach, you think? And what are the major hurdles we need to overcome?
This is only the second day of my visit, and given time constraint on these 2 days, I focused myself on business contacts and on attracting enterprises. But going forward, I think it is important for us to be able to attract appropriate talents from the Middle East to help us to bridge the cultural gap and the understanding gap. And also in order to enable us to continue to be attractive to them, I think it is important for us to keep them interested and get them over to our part of the world to learn more about the local situations and the possible opportunities. So I think this is initially the areas that we should look for talents.
During these 2 days, what do you think you have achieved so far?
I think this is more than a goodwill visit. In these 2 days, I have met with a couple of ministers, say, for example, the Minister of Finance and National Economic Development of Bahrain. They feel excited, and they also admit that their understanding of our part of the world is comparatively limited, and there are opportunities to work together. So I think this visit is very fruitful in terms of breaking ice, establishing contacts, mapping out the follow-up actions, and have my colleagues and their colleagues to continue to follow up to have our objectives to be realized.